The unexpected visitors. The morning sun cast long shadows across the Global Defense Initiative headquarters in Geneva when the impossible happened. Commander Elena Rodriguez was reviewing the weekly patrol reports when every screen in the command center simultaneously erupted with alerts. The coffee in her hand grew cold as she stared at the readings that would change human history forever. "Ma'am, you need to see this," called out Lieutenant Chen from his monitoring station. His voice carried a tremor that Elena had never heard before in her 15 years of service. "We have multiple contacts at the edge of the solar system. They're massive." Elena strode across the command floor, her boots clicking against the polished metal. Around her, the best minds in human space defense worked frantically at their stations. The main display showed what appeared to be impossible readings. 17 objects, each measuring over 15 kilometers in length, had materialized beyond Neptune's orbit. They moved with purpose and precision that no natural phenomenon could explain. "Run the scans again," Elena ordered, though she knew the readings were accurate. The Global Defense Initiative's deep space sensors were the most advanced technology humanity had ever created. If they detected something, it was real. Admiral Marcus Kane burst through the blast doors, his uniform still bearing creases from sleep. The 60-year-old veteran had commanded Earth's space defenses for over a decade, and Elena had never seen him look so grim. "Report, Commander," he demanded, his eyes locked on the tactical display. 17 unknown vessels, Admiral. They appeared simultaneously at 0347 hours local time. Current trajectory suggests they're heading directly for Earth. Estimated arrival in 72 hours if they maintain current acceleration. Kane studied the data with practiced eye. As the objects were unlike anything in human records, their design suggested technology far beyond current human capabilities. "Any attempts at communication?" "All frequencies, sir. Radio, laser, even quantum entanglement arrays. No response." Elena paused, checking her data pad. "Sir, there's something else. The energy signatures we're detecting. These aren't exploration vessels." Before Kane could respond, every communication device in the command center activated simultaneously. The main screen flickered, and suddenly they were no longer alone. The being that appeared before them defied easy description. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, it possessed a humanoid form, but with skin that shifted between deep purple and silver, like liquid metal. 4 arms extended from its torso, and its eyes glowed with an inner light that seemed to see through the screen directly into their souls. "Inhabitants of the third planet," the being spoke, its voice carrying harmonics that made the air itself vibrate. "I am Zarthul, Fleet Commander of the Zephyrian Empire. Your species has been observed and evaluated. The time has come for your integration into the galactic order." Elena felt her heart rate spike, but her training kept her expression neutral. Around the command center, every person had stopped their work to stare at humanity's first contact with alien intelligence. This was the moment they had all theorized about, prepared for, but never truly expected to experience. Zarthul continued, its 4 arms gesturing in complex patterns. "Your civilization shows promise, but you remain chaotic and unguided. You wage wars among your own kind and poison your world with primitive industries. This ends now. Submit to Zephyrian authority, and we will guide you to proper civilization. Your species will be preserved and improved." Admiral Kane stepped forward, his jaw set in determination. "And if we refuse?" The alien's expression shifted, and Elena realized it was displaying what might be amusement. "Refusal is not an option you possess. We have conquered 467 worlds. Your technology is centuries behind our capabilities. Your resistance would be brief and meaningless." Elena exchanged glances with Kane. They both understood the subtext. This wasn't a negotiation or a request for peaceful coexistence. This was a demand for surrender backed by overwhelming force. The alien fleet represented technology that could reduce Earth to ash within hours. "You have 48 of your planetary rotations to prepare for integration," Zarthul announced. Cease all military activities. Prepare your population centers for administrative transition. Any hostile actions will result in corrective bombardment. This communication ends. The screen went dark, leaving the command center in heavy silence. Elena looked around at faces that reflected her own mixture of fear and determination. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it wasn't what anyone had hoped for. "Get me the President, the UN Security Council, and every Space Command leader in the system," Kane ordered. "And Elena, activate Protocol Omega." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Protocol Omega was theoretical, a contingency plan that most of the Global Defense Initiative believed would never be needed. "Sir, are you certain?" "Commander, we've just been told that our species will either submit to alien rule or face extinction. I'd say this qualifies as an Omega-level scenario." As Elena began entering the activation codes she had memorized but never expected to use, her mind raced through the implications. Protocol Omega represented 50 years of secret preparation, hidden projects, and resources diverted from public programs. It was humanity's insurance policy against exactly this scenario. Dr. Yuki Tanaka arrived within the hour, her white lab coat still bearing stains from whatever experiment she had abandoned to answer the emergency summons. The brilliant physicist had spent the last decade overseeing classified projects that officially didn't exist. Her arrival meant that Protocol Omega was no longer theoretical. "The orbital platforms are responding," she reported, consulting a tablet that displayed information invisible to most clearance levels. "All deep space installations are coming online. The asteroid belt facilities report ready status." Kane nodded grimly. "How long until full activation?" 18 hours for primary systems, full capability in 36 hours. Tanaka's expression was unreadable behind her thick glasses. "Admiral, they have no idea what we've built out there." Elena studied the tactical displays showing the alien fleet's approach. Zarthul's ships maintained perfect formation, their energy signatures suggesting shields and weapons that could obliterate any known human vessel. But the aliens were making assumptions based on what they could see. Humanity's greatest strength had always been the ability to plan ahead, to prepare for threats that might never come. Captain David Mitchell arrived with his fighter squadron leaders, men and women who had trained for scenarios that seemed impossible until today. Hammer Mitchell had earned his call sign through aggressive tactics and an unwillingness to back down from any challenge. At 35, he commanded the most elite pilots in human space. "What's the mission profile?" Mitchell asked, studying the alien ships on the display. "Those things are massive, but size isn't everything in space combat." "The mission is survival," Kane replied. "Humanity's survival as a free species. The aliens think they know what we're capable of." "Thought. You're about to discover how wrong they are." Elena watched the alien fleet continue its steady approach toward Earth. Their formation was perfect, their trajectory calculated to demonstrate overwhelming force. They moved like conquerors who had never faced serious resistance. That confidence would be their first mistake. In the hours that followed, every human space installation began revealing its true purpose. Mining platforms in the asteroid belt extended weapon arrays that had been disguised as industrial equipment. Research stations on distant moons activated defense systems hidden within their scientific apparatus. Even civilian vessels throughout the solar system began broadcasting signals that identified them as part of humanity's secret defense network. The most carefully guarded secret was Project Silent Thunder, a network of hidden installations built over 5 decades using resources officially allocated to exploration and research. Every major space project had contained hidden military components. Every colony had defensive capabilities that appeared to be civilian infrastructure. Humanity had learned the art of strategic deception. Elena received reports from installations she had never known existed. Deep space monitoring stations that had tracked alien movements for months before their arrival, weapon platforms hidden within asteroid mining operations, fighter squadrons based on moons that officially had no military presence. The scope of the secret preparation was staggering. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Chen called out, "the alien fleet is adjusting course. They're moving faster." Elena studied the new trajectory data. Zarthul had accelerated his timeline, perhaps detecting the activation of human defensive systems. The alien commander was no fool. He recognized the signs of preparation and was moving to strike before humanity could fully deploy its hidden capabilities. "Signal all stations," and Kane ordered. "Advance the timeline. We go to full alert in 12 hours instead of 36. Dr. Tanaka shook her head. "Admiral, some systems won't be fully operational. We need more time for the deep space platforms to reach optimal positioning." "We use what we have," Kane replied firmly. "Humanity has always excelled at making do with less than ideal circumstances." Elena watched the tactical display update as human installations throughout the solar system reported their status. The alien fleet continued its approach, now clearly aware that their primitive targets were preparing for battle. Zarthul would likely interpret this as typical behavior from a species facing superior force. He couldn't comprehend the true scope of what humanity had built in secret. As the hours passed, Elena found herself thinking about the generations of humans who had worked toward this moment without knowing if their efforts would ever be needed. Scientists who had developed weapons technology disguised as research projects. Engineers who had built defensive installations hidden within civilian construction. Military planners who had developed tactics for fighting technologically superior opponents. The alien ultimatum had 40 hours remaining when Elena made a decision that would echo through history. Instead of waiting for the invaders to reach Earth, humanity would deliver its own message. She activated the secure communication channel that connected every hidden installation in the solar system. "All stations, this is Commander Rodriguez. In 30 minutes, we will broadcast humanity's response to the alien ultimatum. Prepare for immediate hostile reaction. Operation Thunder begins now." As Elena prepared humanity's defiant response, she knew they were about to discover whether 50 years of secret preparation would be enough to preserve human freedom. The aliens had conquered hundreds of worlds, but they had never faced a species that had spent half a century preparing for their arrival. The thunder unleashed. The moment Elena Rodriguez opened the communication channel to broadcast humanity's response, every person in the Global Defense Initiative Command Center understood that history was being written. The alien fleet, now only 18 hours from Earth, maintained its intimidating formation while Zarthul awaited what he expected would be humanity's surrender. Elena faced the camera with the calm determination that had made her one of humanity's most respected military leaders. Behind her, the flags of every nation on Earth and every human colony stood as symbols of the unity that had taken centuries to achieve. When she spoke, her words carried the voice of an entire species. "Commander Zarthul of the Zephyrian Empire, you have given humanity an ultimatum based on the assumption that we are helpless before your superior technology. You believe we are primitives who will cower before your fleet. You are mistaken." Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began powering up weapons that had never been tested in actual combat. In the asteroid belt, mining platforms shed their civilian disguises to reveal massive railgun batteries. On the far side of the moon, defensive installations that officially didn't exist began targeting the approaching alien vessels. Elena continued her broadcast, knowing that Zarthul was listening from his flagship. "Humanity chooses freedom. We choose to stand as equals among the stars, not as subjects to an empire that conquers through intimidation. We have prepared for this day longer than your scouts have observed us. If you want our world, you'll have to take it from us." The response from the alien fleet was immediate. Zarthul's image appeared on screens throughout human space, his forearms gesturing in what Elena was learning to recognize as anger. "Foolish creatures. Your defiance will cost countless lives. Have we offered civilization? You choose destruction." Elena smiled grimly. "We choose to fight for what we believe in. That's what makes us human." Captain Mitchell launched from the hidden base on Europa with his elite squadron, their ships unlike anything the aliens had encountered in their previous conquests. Human fighters were small, fast, and operated with tactics that emphasized unpredictability over formation flying. While alien vessels followed precise patterns, human pilots thrived on chaos and improvisation. Dr. Tanaka monitored the activation of weapons systems that had been 50 years in development. "Admiral, all primary installations report ready. The orbital defense grid is fully operational. Deep space platforms are in position." Admiral Kane studied the tactical display with the eye of someone who had spent decades preparing for this moment. The alien fleet was impressive, but they were flying into the most sophisticated defensive network humanity had ever created. "Initiate Phase 1. Let's show them what human engineering can accomplish." The first exchange of fire came when the alien scouts approached what appeared to be a routine mining operation in the asteroid belt. The Zephyrian vessels expected to brush aside minimal resistance from primitive human technology. Instead, they encountered railgun batteries that fired projectiles at significant fractions of light speed, powered by fusion reactors that had been disguised as mining equipment for decades. Zarthul watched from his command ship as 3 of his scouts simply vanished under the barrage of kinetic projectiles. The humans weren't using energy weapons that his shields could deflect. They were throwing chunks of metal with such velocity that impact meant instant destruction. It was crude by Zephyrian standards, but devastatingly effective. Elena received reports from installations throughout the solar system as humanity's hidden defense network revealed itself. The scope of the secret preparation became clear as civilian structures throughout human space shed their disguises. Research. "This is Hammer to all squadrons," Mitchell broadcast as his fighter dove between 2 alien vessels. "Remember, these guys are used to enemies who play by the rules. We're not going to give them that luxury." Dr. Tanaka activated Project Prometheus, perhaps the most closely guarded secret in human space. For 30 years, research installations throughout the solar system had been developing weapons based on technologies that pushed the boundaries of physics. While the aliens possessed superior conventional technology, they had never encountered the creative destruction that human scientists could devise when survival was at stake. Zarthul began to understand that he had seriously underestimated his opponents. The humans weren't simply defending themselves with primitive technology. They had spent decades building a defensive network specifically designed to counter technologically superior opponents. Every installation, every weapon system, every tactical decision reflected careful planning and preparation. The battle intensified as more alien vessels entered the inner solar system. Zarthul deployed his main battle fleet, expecting to overwhelm human defenses through sheer firepower. Instead, he found himself fighting an enemy that refused to engage on his terms. Human installations would fire massive barrages before going silent, relocating to different positions using mobility systems he hadn't known they possessed. Elena coordinated the defense from her command center, watching tactical displays that showed a battle unlike anything in recorded history. Humanity was fighting for its survival against an empire that had conquered hundreds of worlds, and they were not losing. The secret preparations, the hidden weapons, the decades of planning were proving their worth. "Admiral, the alien flagship is changing course," reported Lieutenant Chen. "They're heading direct for Earth." Kane studied the new trajectory with growing concern. Zarthul had realized that destroying human installations piecemeal would take too long. He was moving to strike at humanity's home world directly, forcing a decisive engagement. "Signal all remaining installations. Converge on Earth. This ends now." Elena watched as human forces throughout the solar system began moving toward their home planet. Mining vessels from the asteroid belt, hidden military ships from bases that officially didn't exist, fighter squadrons from colonies that had claimed to be purely civilian. The true scope of humanity's preparation became apparent as hundreds of vessels converged on Earth. The final engagement took place in the space between Earth and Luna, where humanity's most powerful installations waited in hidden positions. Zarthul's flagship led 17 massive vessels against a defensive network that had been refined through decades of planning and preparation. What he expected to be a quick conquest became the fight of his military career. Captain Mitchell led the fighter assault against ships that dwarfed his vessels by thousands of times. But size meant nothing when human pilots could outmaneuver alien targeting systems and strike at weak points that had never been tested in real combat. The Zephyrian vessels were built for overwhelming firepower against conventional opponents, not for the chaotic tactics that humans employed. Dr. Tanaka activated humanity's final surprise, the weapon system that had consumed the largest portion of their secret resources. Hidden within the moon itself, a massive electromagnetic pulse generator, powered by the planet's core, unleashed energy that disrupted alien systems throughout the battle zone. For critical minutes, Zephyrian technology faltered while human systems, hardened against their own weapon, continued operating. In those minutes of alien vulnerability, Elena coordinated a strike that changed the course of galactic history. Every human weapon in the system focused fire on Zarthul's flagship. The massive alien vessel, protected by shields that should have deflected any human attack, found itself overwhelmed by coordinated strikes from weapons it couldn't detect until too late. Elena opened a communication channel as Zarthul's ship suffered critical damage. The alien commander appeared on her screen, his four arms moving in patterns she now recognized as shock and growing respect. Zarthul of the Zephyrian Empire, this is Commander Rodriguez of humanity. We have a new ultimatum for you. The alien commander studied her through the communication link, his expression unreadable. Around his damaged flagship, the remnants of his fleet faced human forces that had proven themselves capable of destroying technologically superior opponents through tactics and preparation. Elena spoke with the calm authority of someone who had just preserved her species' freedom. You came here expecting to find primitives who would surrender to superior force. Instead, you found humans who spent 50 years preparing to preserve their independence. Return to your empire with this message. Earth is defended. Humanity stands free. Any future contact will be as equals, or there will be no contact at all. Zarthul's response surprised everyone in the command center. Instead of anger or threats, the alien commander displayed what appeared to be something resembling respect. Commander Rodriguez, in 4 centuries of conquest, no species has demonstrated such preparation and determination. Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated humanity's potential. Elena nodded. We don't seek conquest or empire. We seek the right to exist as free beings among the stars. That right is not negotiable. As the damaged Alice fleet began its withdrawal from the solar system, Elena realized that humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They had faced extinction from a technologically superior enemy, and not only survived, but earned their respect. The secret preparations, the hidden weapons, the decades of planning had preserved human independence. The victory celebration that followed would last for months, but Elena knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had proven themselves capable of defending their freedom, but they had also announced their presence to a galaxy full of other civilizations. The future would bring new challenges and opportunities that they could barely imagine. Admiral Kane approached Elena as the last alien vessels departed the solar system. Commander, what's our next move? Elena smiled, looking at the tactical display that showed human installations throughout the solar system standing ready. We keep preparing. The galaxy knows we're here now, and we've proven we won't be easily conquered. But there are other species out there, other threats we haven't encountered yet. Humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to plan ahead. As the celebration continued around them, Elena began thinking about the next 50 years of preparation. Humanity had earned their place among the stars through determination and ingenuity. Now they needed to prove they could thrive there. The age of human space exploration was just beginning, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again.